Men can tolerate, tremendous suffering, but they hate to suffer for reason. Isn't that a shame to suffer for no avoidable suffering? I don't mind doing miserable things. You and I kind of enjoy doing miserable things in a weird way. Why do miserable things that we're not well compensated for? Why?
Actually, that thought, that's why I find certain aspects of my life easy to do the hard things, because I realize being a warrior that I love, that I envision myself, I try to be. I love that aspect of it, but I realize it comes with a price. That's what makes paying the price, to me, easy. When we're in the gym right now and doubling things up, we're trying to make things work, and it's not convenient, it's uncomfortable, or we're tired. I don't sit there and I'm not really that miserable. I might feel tired, I might feel unmotivated at times to sit there with this, but when I sit there and think about it, I actually enjoy the hard parts, because I see that this suffering has a purpose, and I love purpose. I love the idea of what it could create and make me as a person.
If you don't have $1 million yet, you're living a much lesser life than what could be easily available to you with the right guidance. My head coach has freed up a few spots in his calendar to hold one-on-one strategy calls with the highest quality applicants. If you're doing well already and you're looking to accelerate your momentum and do even better, click the link in the description now and apply for your strategy session. More at the end of this video.
When I teach most people, it's a one-on-one situation. So if you fail yourself, you fail you. And if you're failing me, I don't want to be part of it. I'm going to leave. You have a situation where if you're in a group and because of your inadequacies or your inconsistency and your inconsiderate abilities to not study and train hard or to do the right work, you might ask a question that's wasting everybody's time. You might be slowing the group down. And so now you're actually screwing over everybody else too. That's the way I look at that. I'm like, well, now you're the weakest link here, not because you're weak and you need help, but because you chose to be the weakest link for not being prepared. You're selfish.
You know me for some time now. Is there any part of your brain that could imagine that I would let somebody that didn't do the work graduate from a course
Zero chance.
and go tell the world, oh, I went through that mentoring course?
No.
You didn't fucking know shit because I didn't participate fully. I didn't participate half. Imagine, is there anybody out there with a black belt from you that...
You brought up what I was going to bring up. There's a reason why there's very few people in the world, and I'm very selective of who I promote for that reason. And in fact, my students, just like I'm sure you guys are kind of held under higher criteria, because some guys can be like, oh, I got a black belt under Joe Smith. No one really knows who that is. You walk into a gym and you say you're a Frank Mir MMA black belt, you're going to be put to the heat, beat the test. And if you don't fail that, if you don't pass that test, you not only ruin your name, you're ruining me. They're going to, oh man, those guys are garbage to come from him. And that hurts my reputation, my craft, my purpose. And so no, I don't give anybody a pass. In fact, I hold you under a higher standard. It's more difficult.
Would you have anybody out there with a mediocre blue belt skills that's got a black belt with your name associated?
Zero chance. And in fact, that happens is lying, and I'm going to show up and we'll fix this.
There's no part of my brain that would allow this to happen.
No.
So if you won't do the fucking work, we're done talking about it now. This last moment, we're going to talk about it. If you don't do 100% of the work, if it's not abundantly clear in every fucking aspect that you've submitted the homework in the Discord chat, when you answer questions on the account, you showed up at the fucking accountability call. You showed up here. If it's not abundantly clear that when you answer questions on the accountability call that you actually read the book, if it's not abundantly clear, you're going to be gone. Maybe you did 85%. You're going to be gone. It has to be clear that you did the work. You have to not only read, but read and understand. What time did we stop training this morning? What time did we stop training this morning?
Oh, it was past 3 a.m. when I finally said, hey, I'm going to give the wife a call, say goodnight to her. We don't have to stop. We'll be here. We're like, and finally you're like, we might have to start walking out of here, huh? I'm like, oh, okay. It's past 3 a.m. We're still in the gym working out.
3:16. We had that conversation at 3:16 a.m. And then we woke up today and we ate some meat, as you'd imagine. And then we went lifting weights for the last couple hours. Yeah. We talked about the stock market. We talked about some other, interesting psychology tidbits and, foibles and winnings of human endeavor. We talked about gambling fallacy. We talked about all sorts of, quite literally some of the things we talk about in this course. So we had conversation about, human decision making, human judgment, both in a monetary sense and in a martial arts sense. And then we went and lift weights. We were just lifting some heavy stuff. What we're going to do after this? We're going to film some ads. So we make sure there's plenty of winners here, and we can kick out the losers with a smile. Feel happy to get them out of the course. And then we're going to train some more MMA for at least 3 hours. And then we're going to lift some weights again later. We're going to get a second weightlifting in for the day. So I'm going to get 3 workouts in today. took care of things in the stock market. Stock market's been really fantastic the last month. That's our next course. Right now we're about entrepreneurship. By the way, if you can't understand this course, if you don't have this shit down, if you can't understand how a small business functions, marketing, accounting, financial controls, operations management, if you can't understand those things about a small business, how the fuck would you ever make money in the stock market? If you couldn't figure out things that happen in a small business, how would you be able to understand the complexity of the largest companies in the world? Multiple trillion-dollar companies like Apple or something. How would you understand the inner workings of Apple if you can't figure out how to run a little shop, how to run a little online store, convenience store or some shit? You can't run a small business, and you think you're going to be good at the stock market? That's an astonishingly dumb thought. So, I'm just going to work on this one. I'm just going to focus on the stock market thingy. I'm just kind of checking this one out, Derek. I'll get focused on the next one. No, you won't. You're not welcome here. If you're thinking like that, you're not going to associate your name with mine. I don't need money. I don't give a shit about a few $1,000s. We're not going to do that. So you have to be focused. If you can't understand a small business, you are going to be an employee for life at a low level. At a low level, because you're not qualified to be a manager. If you don't understand how a business functions, you're not qualified to manage the business. So not only will you be an employee, you'll be a low-level employee because you're not even qualified to manage the business. If you were qualified to manage the business, you could have built it yourself and managed the fucking business. That's what this whole course is about. If you were qualified to manage the business, you could do the fucking homework and you could understand that in better detail, and you could build business yourself. So you're not even qualified to be a manager. You're going to be at the lowest levels of employment. And some numbnuts listening right now, one of you right now is saying to yourself, well, Derek, I am a manager at my job right now, and I was working at my job. That's why I didn't do the homework. You're going to need that job for the rest of your life, because if you can't do this, you're not qualified for a better job. You're not qualified for entrepreneurship. You're going to have that job for the rest of your life. That's sad and unnecessary. In Friedrich Nietzsche, there's a marble statue they had custom made of Nietzsche in the gym next to where we were doing chest presses earlier. The guy with the mustache, if you don't know, probably you know the guy. Mustache guy, Friedrich Nietzsche, he said, humans can suffer. Humans don't mind suffering. Men can tolerate, tremendous suffering, but they hate to suffer for no reason.
Purpose.
Isn't that a shame to suffer for no avoidable suffering? I don't mind doing miserable things. You and I kind of enjoy doing miserable things in a weird way.
Yes.
But it really sucks. We talked about that at lunch today. It's like, why do miserable things that we're not well compensated for? Why?
Actually, in that thought, that's why I find certain aspects of my life easy to do the hard things, because I realize being a warrior that I love, that I envision myself as trying to be. I love that aspect of it, but I realize it comes with a price. That's what makes paying the price to me easy. When we're in the gym right now and doubling things up, we're trying to make things work, and it's not convenient, it's uncomfortable, or we're tired. I don't sit there and I'm not really that miserable. I might feel tired, I might feel unmotivated at times to sit there with this, but when I sit there and think about it, I actually enjoy the hard parts, because I see that this suffering has a purpose, and I love the purpose. I love the idea of what it could create and make me as a person. So that's why the suffering makes sense to me. And it's like, if you see the overall purpose, if you understand what you're trying to accomplish in life, suffering then becomes with a purpose, and it's almost like enjoyable.
I love the idea of doing difficult things that I know my competition would never do. I love the idea. I'm addicted to that idea. I'm addicted to living my life that way, that several times per day I think, man, this kind of sucks. Once in a while I say the words out loud. I'm like, I really don't feel like doing this next thing. There's never a thought that I'm not going to do it. No. There's not a thought that I'm not going to do it. I'm just verbalizing, I really don't feel like doing this right now. You know what I think to myself? I think, if I don't want to do this shit, my competition definitely doesn't want to do this shit. So that thought gets me excited. Like, if I don't want to do this hard shit, I bet other people really hate it. They're not going to do it.
That's why I actually enjoy that so much. If you think about them, like a Navy SEAL, people don't lie about being a manager at Walmart. No one lies about being some fucking, everybody lies about, I'm a Navy SEAL, I'm a MMA fighter. These things that we all know have a lot of payment to go ahead and suffering to accomplish that goal. That's why I actually enjoy it, because they won't do the suffering, but they want to take the prize. So that's why I that much enjoy the suffering aspect of it, because I'm like, oh, you can pretend and wear medals and tell anybody any story you want, but you're not willing to do this. So that's why I actually, the more you see, I relish the idea of it, because I know there's few other men that are actually in that room paying that price. And it becomes like a badge of honor.
You watch this video all the way through, and that tells me you're dedicated to learning more and earning far above average outcomes in your life. Congratulations for that. But now it's time to take action. If you could have earned those results by yourself, you would have done it already. My head coach has opened up a few spots on his high-demand calendar for an in-person, one-on-one strategy session to help you. On this call, we'll give you the pragmatic advice that you can implement tonight to get laser-focused on the right metrics and leave mediocrity far behind in your past. Click that link right now in the description below and apply for your call immediately. Do it now.